Hey, what's up and welcome back to my channel. Now today I'm going to be giving a review for the movie Sicario, Day of the Solado. Now this is a sequel to the 2015 film known as Sicario. Now I have never managed to see that film, but I knew of it, but I just decided to get this one a shot, because it looked pretty good to me. So I just went ahead and gave it a shot, and I'm probably going to look at the original one too as well. Now I must admit that I did enjoy this film, I liked it. And apparently Benicio del Toro and like Josh Brolin, they returned from the original film as well. And I don't know about the director, because the director of this film is known as Stefano Sollima. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. But overall, I enjoyed this film, it was like pretty entertaining. At times I thought it was kind of hard to like follow it, what the plot itself was about, but I did still find it to be like an entertaining film. Because the film was about like the Mexican like borderline, between like the Mexico, and I think the United States, like that borderline is actually getting to the point where like they're transporting like Mexicans and so on. They are crossing like the borderline, but at this point they're bringing in like terrorists among the Mexicans. So some of the Mexicans that are crossing the border are actually like terrorists, because like when the film actually opens, it opens with like a group of like I guess you could say they're like Mexicans. They go inside the shopping store, and they start blowing themselves up. They have like bombs, and you can see them blowing themselves up, causing like terrorism, which cause like mass, destruction, like killing like a bunch of people. So that's basically how the film starts out. Now at one point, once all this is happening, the character of Matt Graver, who is a CIA Special Activist Division agent, and he's played by Josh Brolin, he actually has to recruit Alejandro Gillick, who is played by Benicio del Toro, and Alejandro is like a hitman. So he actually seeks out his help to kind of stop this threat of them breaking in like terrorists, like smuggling terrorists across like the Mexican border. So they devise a plan to actually kidnap one of the top kingpins of this like group. I think the terrorists, if I'm not mistaken, they actually devised a plan to kidnap his daughter. And actually, this actually makes like the situation of what's going on with like the terrorists being smuggled across the border even like worse. And at the same time, you have like the girl known as Isabella Reyes. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. She's played by Isabella Moner. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. She actually is kind of confused about what's kind of going on with these these smuggling situations, like the terrorists and so on. And apparently, like her father actually has a connection to the character of Alejandro too as well. But I ain't gonna get into it too much because it's kind of ruined the film. Now that's like the main plot of the film, but you also have like this subplot going on, which is kind of, I feel like they didn't really need, but once it ends, you kind of see like the need and the purpose for that particular subplot. And this revolves like a young boy, like a Mexican-American teenager known as Miguel. Now he is new to like the gang that is transporting like these immigrants across the borderline. So like he has like a little plot thing, it kind of jumps into like his part of the story like off and on, but it still feel like it didn't fit. But like I say, once the story comes together as a whole, then you can see like the point of his like of that particular subplot of the film itself, being that he's like new to like transporting immigrants and so on, and the thing he's kind of getting familiar with the way they are transporting like these and smuggling like these immigrants. He kind of gets the feel and idea how that plays out, how rough it can be, what you have to do to succeed and be a part of the group and so on, But like I said, I feel like it's like it's kind of out of place, but it did fit the overall tone of what the story was about itself. When it actually ended, you could see the purpose of why they had that kind of subplot in the film itself. Now you also have a character in Keener, I think that's how you pronounce her name, as Cynthia Fords, I think. And she is actually the one that's a part of like the CIA Special Division group that Matt Graver is a part of. She actually is a part of that group, and she actually is the one who actually asks him to actually seek out Alejandro's help. To actually do what they had to do in the end. To get things right the way they were. You also have Matthew Modine as the Secretary of Defense, James O'Reilly. But then I thought this was a pretty entertaining film. I thought the performances were real good too, like from like Josh Brolin as Matt Graver, or like Benicio del Toro as Alejandro. I thought the performances were like very good. I like the way Benicio played Alejandro. He had like a laid back kind of feel to his role. I thought that was kind of cool. I like the way Josh Brolin played his role as Matt. You know, it was like, you know, kind of like aggressive, you know, but at the same time, you know, kind of humorous at times. You know, I thought they gave like good performances though in this film. You know, and it did have like a lot of good like action scenes in it too as well. Like whenever there's an action on, it can be like very violent. You know, you see like blood splatter and stuff like that. But it's kind of okay. You never feel scared to actually see somebody get shot. Basically, you know. Now, at one point, you could be like, you know, oh, they might kill this person and this and that, you know, but it's not never really that tense. But it is like, you know, like it could be kind of violent and kind of scary at times, but not too tense, you know. You can actually look at somebody getting shot, basically, in this film. But overall, this was, I enjoyed it, you know. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing like the first one, you know. And not to spoil it, you can definitely tell they kind of leave this open for like a third film, you know. I won't be surprised if be like another one, you know. They might make it into a trilogy, you know, or so on. I won't be surprised, you know. But yeah, in the end, Sicario Day of the Solado, I'm giving this a B, and I would definitely recommend it for like fans of these kind of films, you know, like drug smuggling, like immigrant smuggling type films, you know. Anything that I kind of love, you know, I would definitely recommend it for that crowd. And I guess if you like the first, you know, because I'm hearing that it's not as good as the original one, but it said actually it's still a good film, you know, so I'm not too sure about that. But anyway, I'm giving Sicario Day of the Solado, I'm giving this a B. Please leave a comment and subscribe too as well.